But 1 in 10, Gerald K. Haynes said 1 in 10 were UFOs. We have case files of real UFOs. The 1 in 10 sightings were actual UFOs.
That's a high number.
That's 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so going back and thinking about, wow, the CIA knew that there was something up there that were real UFOs. And this is like more of the public side of CIA, it's still classified side of CIA, but not the program side of CIA.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's not deep.
It's not deep. It's just interesting information that you saw a UFO and that 10% of them couldn't be explained.
Yeah.
So the second part of that discussion was about beings, that there were aliens, there were actual aliens, and that they were able to collect DNA from aliens. And that's when they discovered, and this didn't happen in 47, happened later. Probably they had tissue samples or whatever that they've stored, and they were able to recover DNA. And when we discovered how to sequence the human genome, when we sequenced the alien DNA, and we discovered that, there are markers in there that look very human. Human hybrids. That what looks like an alien for some reason, has human genetic markers in their DNA, in the genome. And so I found that to be interesting. And to answer your question, that's when I thought, this sounds pretty classified to me.
This is coming from a CIA historian.
A CIA historian, yes.
Like, that comes with some weight behind it. This isn't going to a UFO conference and somebody like me going up there and talking about hybrids. This is an official CIA historian with background, with checked credentials, with clearances, telling a group of other individuals from universities, from different departments in the defense intelligence agencies about hybridization programs.
Right. And I would say this, I would preface that with, I don't think there were other members of the intelligence community there. I think there were only CIA officers and these postdoc folks that we sponsored.
Do you think, now we're going to go more into this hybrid thing because I want to hear what they had to say about that. I think it's very fascinating. But do you think at any point before we get into this that you might have been led into some weird honey trap situation where they give you passage material? Do you think that because I know a lot of the audience is going to be like, oh, maybe this is a whole setup or something. Did that ever cross your mind? Did that ever
Never crossed my mind. Never crossed my mind. No.
Yeah. It didn't feel like that at all. Okay.
Not at all. Because when there's passage material, we actually read into the passage material. And my explanation for that is this, that I was involved in some covert programs, and it required me to be overseas, undercover, with a different name, complete different biography, complete different history. And I was sent overseas with actual documents. And I was told that if you're stopped, even by customs when you're coming back to the United States or the other customs of the foreign country you're going to, that we want you to have a cover story. You have to have a cover legend, and you can use these cover legends depending on the circumstance. So I was given the passage material to pass on. And also, I would say that because of the nature of that symposium, I discounted that completely because of who was there.
Understood. And what was everyone else's reaction to this news?
I was surprised that there was no reaction. And I didn't even have a reaction. I just took it all in. I thought to myself, sounds a little classified to me, but I was interested in what Gerald Haynes has to say about the hybridization, alien DNA, CIA's interest in aliens.
Okay, let's get into this a little bit more, because now this is becoming very, very, very interesting, because this connects with so many other stories of, experiencers and everything else. So the CIA is basically giving this presentation in an unofficial, in in an unclassified capacity about sequences in the DNA of the Roswell aliens that are connecting human DNA.
I assume they were Roswell aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they were non-humans.
They were non-humans.
Non-humans, whether they were collected from the Roswell crash or other retrievals, I don't know.
Okay.
But the key phrase that Gerald Haynes used was, since World War II, after World War II, we were interested in alien DNA, particularly found in humans. At that time, I didn't know anything about Magenta, had no knowledge of Magenta, of that craft and that retrieval, had no knowledge that we may have had the craft itself with, as David Grush would call, biologics on board.
Mm-hmm.
But he said after World War II. So that, in hindsight, makes sense that, okay, maybe, that's where it came from, or other retrievals where there were beings on board.
Yeah, because allegedly the crash in Italy in Magenta, which happened in 1933, wasn't sent to the United States until Pope Pius agreed to send it in 1945.
Yeah,
right?
44, 45.
45. So that would have been what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't, and maybe I'm mistaken here, but I heard, and this is uncorroborated evidence, or it's speculative at best, but that the beings on board of the Magenta craft were humanoid looking.
Mm-hmm.
They were like tall blondes.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear. Was that at all mentioned during the symposium?
No.
Was the type of alien mentioned?
No.
Okay.
And in my mind, I was thinking of the traditional, what I'll call traditional gray being. That's what I had in my mind. But no, he didn't mention exactly what kind of being. But what he said about their interest, CIA's interest in these beings and human DNA in their genome, was what I call. Because what he said afterwards rang all kinds of like, oh, this sounds really classified. And that was, CIA had a program to trace this alien DNA in certain families in the United States. And he mentioned a particular region that this research occurred in the Northeast United States. He won't go any further than that. That certain families, and particularly their children, were of interest to CIA. I didn't know what to make of it back then. But you start talking about the GATE program and subsequent studies of children and their capabilities and their abilities to do certain psionic things. That now comes to my mind since that was brought out more recently.
So the CIA was interested in potentially tracking the activity of hybrids, human-alien hybrids in the United States.
That, and going back in their lineage as well.
In their lineage.
Right, and going back in their ancestry as well. I don't know how they collected this DNA. We have oversight now, and that oversight started in the mid-'70s, congressional oversight. This sounded like it occurred before there was congressional oversight, because you couldn't do that today.
Yeah, no, it'd be illegal.
Yes, completely. So this may have occurred earlier.
Right.
That they were interested, and then when we developed in the 90s, we developed the ability to sequence the human genome completely, that may have furthered the investigation into the alien DNA.
Has there ever been, and feel free to answer this with a one-word answer, has there ever been a situation that you were in where you've gotten confirmation of the government's involvement with human alien hybrids?
Yes.
Okay.